hand.
Good morning, furry fandom. It's Fox Cub, aka Copper Kid, here with yet another video. And joining me today is.
Wolfina Gaming.
And you may remember Wolfina Gaming, or another name I call them by force of habit. If you want me to call you that,
Go ahead.
I call them by the name Skills because it's a persona name, and they are joining me in yet another video, because my last video they're in was my Halloween one with the pumpkin carving, and yet they wanted to join me in another video. So, here they are.
Hello, YouTube. We'll probably put the link either in the description or in the comments down below.
Most likely the description, but...
And if you don't forget, please also like and subscribe, because if you are watching this and you're not subscribed, this YouTube channel can't do it without you. And enjoy the video.
And if you're wondering why there's a green hue around us, that's because we're using Skittles, aka Wolfina's, stage light for green hue, because the next year's holiday is St. Patrick's Day, so early happy St. Patrick's Day celebration. Even though the story isn't related, but that's a tangent for another day. But so today is kind of more of a theory of an origin of a cryptid monster and another monster that is very popular around like Halloween and just October in general, and a historical furry icon that most furry fandom people may know. And I think there might be a link between legend and myth and truth. And if you can hand me the papers, I printed some papers off of the... No, all of them at once. You see, everyone here, you should obviously know what a werewolf is, right? Well, and you all should know who Anubis was. But there's also another creature that you may not know of called the cryptid, the Dogman. So, not sure if these pictures are going to be very visible because the stage light and using a new camera, so it might also affect visibility. But I'm going to say my theory on them. And if you have anything to weigh in, go ahead.
Seems like you're going on the right track, down the right road.
Alright. As everyone knows, Anubis here, if I can, darn gloves. Imagine my fursuit paws, that'd be a nightmare with paper. Oops. But anyways, Anubis. Well, everyone knows that or every furry pretty much knows that he's probably the icon of the beginning of furries, the furry god that I've heard people call him. Well, there's theories that the Egyptian gods like Anubis, Ra, Set, and any anthro-looking furry-like animal were real, but aliens from another planet. Basically, they're saying that they're all real, but we're not gods in general. So, I mean, just think about it. Where would we have gotten our ideas for the furries if we hadn't encountered them years ago? Because human society was just building up, and we told stories of what we have seen and encountered, like Sasquatch from the Native American legends, and the stories of ghosts, vampires. Where did we all get our legends from? Something like that had to exist for us to get our ideas from. So why couldn't someone or something that looks anthro and furry be from another planet, or maybe, heck, even another dimension that was here on Earth during the time of the Egyptian time period to give them the idea for their masks and the worshippers? I mean, what do you think?
Based on lore, they used Anubis as the guiding god of the dead souls to
Mm-hmm.
the afterlife.
Yeah.
Basically, is what Anubis originated from.
Yeah. And where would we have created these stories to begin with if we hadn't seen something like this during that time? And then fast forward a few hundred more years to the Dark Ages, and a little further than that to the Victorian era, or flip flopped. I can't remember off the top of my head. There were werewolves. And take a look. Werewolf Anubis. Anybody see something similar with the way they may look? Trying to get the best angle here with the camera, but don't they both look like they have similar body um, bodybuilding structures?
Or features.
Mm-hmm. Why couldn't Anubis actually be a subspecies of something that we saw later in history and made our legends of the werewolves? I mean, Native Americans told their stories of Sasquatch, even their art has had creatures on there that doesn't look human, that matches the description of Sasquatch or Bigfoot, whatever you want to call him. Why couldn't werewolves be a species that has not been yet, well, proven to science? That people just keep seeing and telling stories on them, and with them looking so anthro and human like, thinking a human turning into this creature. Why couldn't that be something that happened? Like, that inspired the story of a real creature.
Based on some folklore of the era of the werewolf, that is like proven in movies. Most movies show that people do end up being a werewolf, and well, based on some movies, I'm not trying to say, don't quote me on this, I'm not trying to say it's accurate 100%. It just based on lore and, fiction of the story.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, what actually inspired the story of these creatures to even come to tuition? Because most of, like I said, our stories are from what we have seen. I mean, vampires, for example, are what people have seen think to be the undead. There's a story about this man who was hanged and was but didn't die. He had he didn't have a lot of oxygen to his brain, so he passed out. So they buried him alive, and he came back hours later from the coma, and he was so out of it he looked undead, like a vampire or a zombie. This is something that actually happened and inspired the stories of zombies and werewolves. I mean, not werewolves, vampires. Mine went a little, you know,
Tangent.
got confused. But my mistake. But, you know, we have told stories for years of things we've either made up in our heads or seen or added to the stories. That's, I know I might be repeating myself, but that is more of a food for thought situation. And coming down to my last piece of evidence, the cryptids, called the Dog Man, a bipedal anthro wolf human looking hybrid creature. And seriously, people think that they inspired the legends of the werewolves. I mean, seriously, don't they look similar? Sorry. And it makes sense that these creatures may have actually inspired the werewolves, but if you connect all the lines, the werewolves, the dog man, even Anubis, all have the same body structure. Sorry. And let's see, digitigrated legs, wolf or canid heads, human looking torsos, human to paw looking hands, and paw looking feet, and sometimes even a tail. They all have the same look to them. I mean, thousands and thousands of years passed, and they have barely ever change the design of werewolves, Anubis, or even the dog man here in all the eyewitness accounts. This is actually a printed off picture I found on YouTube of an eyewitness drew of the creature that I think she actually saw. So, if you think about it, what does it sound like to you when you connect the lines?
Connecting the lines back all the way to Anubis to basically that drawing of the Dogman, I believe to say that it's possible that they do have a tangent existence in our society and world.
And I got even more evidence. I don't have any more pictures to prove it, but think about it. Anubis was technically the first thing to inspire furries. Then werewolves and the dogmen, all three creatures that are considered furries. And I said they may have been aliens, right? Well, here's another piece of evidence of something else that may prove that we're not alone and that our anthro-animals are actually real and from another planet. You know scalies, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have read before in books and watched documentaries on alien abductions. There have been lizard men looking aliens or scaly looking aliens. And they have like the lizard shaped head, human body, human hands with claws, sometimes even a tail, green, and there's even scalies who have personas that look similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
And why couldn't they be real too and also be from planets, from other planets? So, why couldn't most of our fandoms or legends that are built around these creatures be real and have been here in our past? I mean, even the lizard man cryptid looks exactly like these alien scaly creatures. Look exactly the same. And there's two different versions of them. Some have like a human complete shape, but with a green skin and the claws. And then there's ones with the digitigrade legs, a tail, a dinosaur to lizard looking head. I mean, why is so much of our personas and what we just draw for our personas and all that look so much similar to something that has been in our past or something that looks like aliens? I mean, yeah, it could be easily as people could have been inspired by these stories of aliens, but even if you take that in consideration, wouldn't that mean that was still based off of something that has been seen here on our planet?
Yes, I think that's a good argument to case.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm right, I'm not saying I'm wrong. This is just a food for thought video, basically, because I've had this on my mind for a while and talked to Skittles here about it a few times, and I've been wanting to get it out in the open. So, so what's your thoughts on it? You can either say I'm just talking out of thin air. You can say I'm right. You can say that I don't have enough evidence. Whatever. Just say whatever your opinion is in the comment section down below. And and that's really all I have to this video, unless you have something you want to add on.
I basically am out of thoughts. I don't have much to say, but just backing up some theories that I've witnessed in my past.
Well, you want to talk about them?
Speaking of Dogman, I ended up running into one when I was in Dayton. There was a part that was fully wooded. There's no houses in it. There's no trash in it. It's fenced off. It's an old abandoned park. Apparently, the last time that park was open happened to be way, way, way before the sightings of that creature. The same creature that he showed you the last picture, which would be the Dogman one. That's exactly what I seen in that park and apparently it didn't chase me, it didn't attack me. I saw it in the distance, and then it slowly got closer, and then immediately ran off. So I can back up that possibly a thing of, really close to basic reality.
And there's one thing I want to say, if I can.
Go ahead.
There's even legends that these dogman creatures can speak. The only two recorded, sightings of them actually speaking, they actually said a word that was not in English, but some Native American language, like Gadara, something like that. Not not the kaiju creature, but in another language. People think it means courage because anytime it actually said this, people have never ran away from it or they got brave enough to encounter the creature. And the first time I ever was recorded saying this, it was in a Native American burial ground, digging in a Native American grave. So that's just a theory that they're connected to the Native Americans. You can continue.
Actually, that's all I have, as long as you don't have any more to say.
Not much. Because I would probably do a separate video on Dogman cryptids in general. And I've actually made some playlists for specific videos I made. Like, this one's probably going to be a food for thought playlist. But if you don't have anything else to say,
Nope, I'm out of food for thought.
well, I'll probably end the video here then. So,
Please don't forget to, if you didn't subscribe and you like to see more of the content, please slap that subscribe button. Also, if you don't ring that bell, you won't get more interesting content. Please ring that bell like the Taco Bell gong sound. And we'll see you next time.
and this is Copper Kid, aka Fox Cub,
And Wolfina Gaming out.
signing off.